Well, welcome back to the Extraordinary Drummer Show. As you know, I'm your host, Cheron Moore. I always say today. Well, family, today, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back. You talking about a clean drummer? You talking
uh-huh.
about a working drummer? You talking about a well-loved drummer? My guest today, you all know him. He's a clinician. Uh, his credits just reach like the who's who, and we're gonna talk. I mean, Gatemouth and all these other people we're gonna talk about here in a second. Basically, he's a drummer's drummer. We all love him. We all miss him. It's good to put eyes on him. Help me welcome my old friend, Robert Shipley. Hey, Robert.
Hey, Shiron. Thank you, man. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the Extraordinary Drummer Show.
Right on, right on.
Yeah, man. How y'all
Ah,
feel about putting eyes on Robert? It's been a long time since he came over to the drumming community and hung out with us.
thank you for having me, man. This is a blast.
Robert, I'm gonna go back and come forward, but I'm gonna jump a little bit for the sake of time. Um, did it help to have a father that was a recording engineer, your father Charles? Was that helpful?
Oh man, it was very helpful. I mean, our environment. Wait a minute, hold on a second. Let me grab this picture real quick. I don't know if you can see this. I guess I should be able. So this, you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's me and my twin brother and this female vocalist. We were like sixth grade. She was a freshman in high school. Bass player was like a year older than us. He was probably in seventh grade or so. And this is like what 1971. We had just started playing, but my father, being a recording engineer and a carpenter of sorts, he would knock down a wall and soundproof. And at that time, state of the art was reel to reel, and he mounted the TVs in the walls and intercom systems up to the front door. We were in the basement, a record cutter, engineer's booth, the full blown like studio in
Wow.
the crib, and we just practiced. Our lead singer was a freshman in high school, so we played in the high school talent show, won first place. And we're in sixth grade, man, but we went in there killing. We wasn't messing around.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it helped. It helped provide us with the environment. A lot of professionals he was acquainted with, so like the five stair steps, the Ooh Child, the record Ooh Child, that was
Oh
their hit
yeah.
back then. The guitar player in that group coached us. So yeah, it was a great environment growing up, man. My dad was one of the type. That's where I get my outgoingness and being around stars. He used to take us around like Sarah Vaughan. We were in clubs, concert halls, amphitheaters, whatever, all over Chicago. Backstage, we were young kids, man, and he just really opened us up to an environment, you know.
You're originally from Chicago, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, man. Do you
Yeah.
remember when you got your first drum kit? What was that scene like?
Um, my dad really hooked the whole band up with equipment. Our keyboard player, he bought him like a Fender Rhodes, the suitcase, a 73 probably, 73 key, big, huge Ampeg amp. I don't know why this little kid needed this big, tall Ampeg amp. My brother had like a Stratocaster and the twin reverb amp or whatever the happening Fender amp was. But he bought me like this Mitch Matz drum set. So I had like a Rogers kind of blue and dark, light and dark blue, like tiger stripe swirl, bass drum, Rogers, bass drum and floor tom, a Slingerland psychedelic looking mounted tom, and a Ludwig snare. So I had this mismatched kit. They were all great drums too, Rogers, Slingerland, Ludwig. I didn't know the difference. To me, it was a great kit.
I'm gonna move forward for the sake of time. I'm gonna jump way forward here to the professional years or the years getting started into professionalism. What was it like? working with Gatemouth?
Okay, so that was one of my very first tours. Well, I kind of broke into the blues scene being in Chicago, playing I got introduced to the club scene on the north side with a band called Mighty Joe Young. We got out on tour and we must have been on a festival with Gatemouth Brown. Well, me and Gatemouth Brown's drummer, Ricky Sebastian, became friends. He says, "Hey man, I'm moving to New York." He had like a gig with Sonny Rollins or something. I mean, he was out there playing with the who's who in New York. But we're like, he's a couple years older than me. So I moved down to New Orleans when I was about 21. Yeah, at Gatemouth Brown promised me all this work, and I was excited to leave Chicago, thinking, "Man, I'm about to begin my career, and this is awesome. I couldn't wait, So I jumped on the first thing smoking, went down to New Orleans, and it was about 6 months before we worked. So I went through some really hard times my first 6 months with Gatemouth. Like, hey man, what's all this work? I'm living around, I'm trying to get into the scene. I'm hanging out with the Neville brothers and all the bad cats down in New Orleans at that time. So that was great, but I wasn't making no money. And when we finally did, well, we recorded first. So we recorded an album, which eventually got a Grammy for the best blues album. So that was like maybe 81, 82. And by the time it won its Grammy, 83, we were out on the road touring. We toured Europe, all through Europe, doing television shows. I'm all on YouTube. You can search Robert Shipley on drums and you'll see over 30 years of footage of me with all these artists. But Gatemouth was the first one that I was on a real full-fledged world tour. Like I said, with a Grammy-winning album, best blues album. And it was exciting, man. Once we finally got it rolling, because I was like 6 months down there, but that was probably a lot on me. I probably could have waited in Chicago, but I didn't want to lose the gig. I was excited to get out of Chicago and get going. And he was the beginning.
Robert, tell me about becoming a director of jazz studies at Hope College.
Okay. So that happened. Well, I moved to Vegas. And I was in Vegas, like I just kind of got tired of the road after 12 years with the OJs, the ups and downs of the road and everything. So I moved to Vegas and immediately got like residency, or as they call them, house gigs, 3 years here, 3 years there, 2 years here. And they were all like 6 nights a week. So that was great. After about 16 years of Vegas, man, I just started looking at my life like, okay, I've done the road, I've traveled the world. Now I've, been settled and been able to sleep in my bed at night. What's it gonna be like 10 years from now? I had played with Ben Vereen under the direction of Dave Loeb, and he's the director of jazz studies at UNLV. So he said, "Hey man, come back to school, come to school, go join us at UNLV. I'll fast track you, get you your bachelor's, and we work on your master's." So I took him up on the offer, man. And I don't know, I just kind of thought about it. And next thing I know, I was in school, in college. And I was like, wow, I kind of shocked myself. Like, wow, I'm really doing this, So I stuck it out, got my degrees with the intent and with the hopes and prayers that I would get a full-time professor gig, not just an adjunct, but a full-time, like a Dave Loeb, and be the director of jazz studies. And sure enough, as soon as I graduated, matter of fact, a week before I graduated, get my master's, I had put some applications out there. And Hope College, amongst some other places, gave me an offer. Man, God just made it happen. I was really attracted to the small town, the small college, and it's great here. I just finished my second year here. Director of jazz studies mean I'm over the jazz area, which means I have to organize the adjunct faculty in the jazz area and assign the students to combos and ensembles. It's a lot of responsibility, and aside from teaching a full load. So it's been a lot of responsibility, but it's a great gig, man. Great benefits, good pay, it's consistency. I'll have my tenure God willing, in about 3 or 4 years.
Robert, tell me about your book, The Art of Commercial Drumming. I love that title.
The Art of Commercial Drumming. I'm looking around my office because I just thought about that. Now, that was my first book. Writing drum music wasn't that hard. I came up with the concept of the pocket system. Somebody, a percussionist, well, I used to hear a lot, of course, just like you and I and many of our friends, our peers, that we have great pockets. Yeah, you're a great pocket drummer. You got a great pocket. So that's how I came up with the main concept of the art of commercial music. And I wish I'm in my office now. I think I have a copy of that book, but and I'm really happy with that book. But I just came out with my second book, uh, Complete Drum Methods for the Well-Rounded Drummer. And I really like this publishing house and how they put this book together.
Robert, we do a thing on the show we call Word of Advice, where I ask the drummers if they'll leave a parting word of advice for the up and comer guys, even the guys at the next level, but that are trying to get traction in this game, in this industry. Would you leave them a few words of advice?
Yeah. Well, so Shaka was asked that on some show we were doing, and I don't know. I jokingly talk about that because she said, yeah, something my father told me a long time ago. The toilet is the great equalizer. And that's something like, wow, whoa, wait a minute. What's she talking about? What does that mean? And what she was trying to say was, she was going through some things we all do when we're in the limelight and we're in the public's eye as like people who have accomplished some fame and fortune and achieved a lot in the music business. But one thing that's keeps us all we all have in common is that toilet is a great equalizer, right? We all gotta visit that toilet. So nobody's above reproach, nobody's any bigger, and you really realize that when you get out to be with stars, they're just people that were good at what they did and passionate about it. Now, what makes you good at it? And I'll take some things I've learned along the way is music. It's not about us. We have to work hard to create a craft, and that's our passion and our love for music that drives us to get us to sit down on the drums and practice countless hours a day. Yeah, you have to do that to get good at your craft, but really it's about the music. Be about the music. Don't let your ego, we all have egos. Don't let your ego take you somewhere else with this. Always keep your concern about the music, and it'll become a spiritual journey. Let the music just take you on a path, and it will if you give yourself wholeheartedly to it, unconditionally, and with a love and passion for it. So I think if that makes sense, and I hope it does, uh that you keep it about the music. You're in a group, you're in a situation, always be very attentive to the people that are in front, that are paying your check, signing your check weekly. What do they need? Always let them know that they are your focus, and it's all about the music and about making them shine. You are a supporting actor in a movie. They're the stars, you're a supporting actor, something like that. Yeah. Just be humble, be about the music, and I think you'll come out. I think that's what's helped me achieve, what little bit of fortune or achievements that I've accomplished. I've always been about helping musicians because I was raised that way, and musicians have in turn looked out for me and kept me in their loop and turning me on to gigs. But it was always about, if I got called for a gig, I wouldn't just be like, nah, I can't do it. I'd be like, yeah, I can't do it, but here's this other cat and he's great. I think you'll like him. And people really appreciate that.
Thank you so much for being on the Extraordinary Drummer Show.
Thank you for having me, man. This is awesome that you're doing that, and keep up the good work.
Yeah, will you help me wave goodbye to all the fans?
Oh man, absolutely.